If there's any game that doesn't have any review scores or anything, regardless whether they are old or new, I am covering it. I'm probably playing it and reviewing it. Okay, why do I say this? Well, according to Dr. Disasters, there's a new game that is currently coming tomorrow. By the time it's uploaded, this game is called Hell Is Us, will be coming tomorrow, September 5th. You know how it is. Western journalists, you wanna know what they say? The game has a boring white protagonist, aka they hate white dudes, white guy, and they give it a 3 out of 5.
The issue with the plot, though, is Remy himself.
Before we let Dr. Disaster start, here it is, the one he highlighted. The issue of the plot, though, is Remy himself. Besides searching for his family, he is prescribed as the boring white boy, white guy in the jacket as school protagonist. Ah, yes. Let's see the score. Now, I'm gonna skip a bit. Here, let me show you.
Triple stamp, double stamp. You can't triple stamp, double stamp.
For most games, if it comes from a major developer, we see somewhere around 60 to 80 reviews for the game on Metacritic. As an example, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater had 79 reviews drop immediately when that game came out, but whenever a game either does something that game journalists don't like Marvel Rivals, which pissed off game journos by featuring attractive female characters in it, or when a game comes from a smaller AA studio, the game journos just don't bother reviewing it.
Which is why, from now on, I think if I found anything, or perhaps if you have any AA or indie games that haven't got any review scores or anything, let me know. Maybe I can find that. Maybe I can play it. I can review it. I mean, look at this. Marvel Rivals only have 23 critic reviews, but Metal Gear Solid got 79. Why is that, folks? And it's not about a franchise or a genre or anything. Remember one thing. The title of this, Marvel Rivals, is called Marvel, okay? Think about that, folks.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, I've started uploading content onto Rumble, so make sure to follow me over there, and don't forget to follow me over on X, where I keep a list of games lousy with wokeness pinned to my account at all times for your reference. My handle over there is Dr. Disaster 1. But let's talk about what is being said about Hell Is Us. Like I said before, given how idiotic and biased toward progressive movements these professional games reviewers often are, on the one hand, it's a good thing that they aren't even looking at a game like Hell Is Us. Their opinions are practically meaningless to anyone with a serious mind. On the other hand, game journalists are still the gatekeepers of extra buzz and hype for games. Whether or not we respect their opinions, the fact of the matter is that these big game journalist outlets still have enough clout that when they talk about something, people do listen. If a game is ignored by the mainstream media, then a lot of gamers won't even know it exists. After all, the games that they ignore are usually smaller games who don't have the budget for a bunch of advertisements. Conversely, look at Borderlands 4. That game is being advertised like crazy all over the place right now, and the media is talking about it constantly, writing all kinds of articles about it. So, as much as we might not like these game journalists, and we rightly mock them for their irrelevance compared to what they were a decade or more ago, the truth is that they do still have sway to some extent.
Honestly, regardless, doesn't matter anyway, because don't forget, even though most of those games that Dr. Disaster mentioned that the journalists will not cover, perhaps we YouTubers can cover it. I'm probably going to play any games that are made in the East, regardless of what it is, China or South Korea, whatever it is, that fits a genre that I like, or perhaps any genre that you like. Don't forget one thing, just in case any of these Call of Duty fanboys doesn't understand, I'm not using one specific game, okay? I have multiple. I will play any games that doesn't deserve, or perhaps that doesn't have any clout, or perhaps any recognition to the mainstream media. I'll play them. Doesn't matter whether it's indie, AA, or games made in the East.
Anyhow, let's look at this article from Eurogamer where they review Hell Is Us, and keep in mind that this is how this person ended up scoring the game. a 3 out of 5 stars. The article starts off though by gushing about the soundtrack and the dark mood, but then immediately he does the game journalist thing and he starts whining about the difficulty level of the game. And admittedly, there are people out there who don't like those sorts of games. They don't like games that are too difficult, and that's fine, but clearly this guy is treating difficulty as if it is a de facto bad thing which caused the game to deserve a lower rating. The article then talks about the storyline of the game. It's a war-torn land with all kinds of supernatural stuff going on. The writer seems to like the lore and atmosphere of the game. We are going to read from here though, where it says, through detailed character conversations and well-written clippings and recordings.
Bold decision. Well, I don't know what to say. I mean, Hell Is Us is absorbing, nightmarish meditation of the horror of war, but divisive design choice proved tedious. You ask yourself this, how long are these Western journalists gonna continue to do their biased journalists? I mean, I know they're gonna keep on staying, but sooner or later, how many layoffs that the journalists have right now? Polygon, nobody cares. Oh yeah, the New York Times, Washington Post, do any people still listen to them? You know what? I'm 100% certain that any games, okay, let's take Us North for example. If that game ever comes out, I am 100% certain that Take Us North will get a full star by Eurogamers, or better yet, a 10.
Of the game, we are going to read from here though, where it says, through detailed character conversations and well-written clippings and recordings, Remy pieces together the storied world of Hadia that thoroughly intrigues. The issue with the plot, though, is Remy himself. Besides searching for his family, he prescribes to the boring white guy in a jacket school of protagonists. Now, I just have to pause real quick here and point out the obvious, that there is no way that this guy would say that same thing about any other demographic. He would never say that if it was a boring black guy in a jacket, or a boring Asian guy, or a boring Indian guy. If the main character were a woman, he wouldn't have said that this was an issue. Or if the main character were gay, he wouldn't have said this. But, as I said earlier, the whole point of a game journalist is to be a social climber who kisses corporate ass and parrots their progressive talking points. So, reading on, the article then says about the main character, he barely speaks and rarely comments on his discoveries. He is a thoroughly uninteresting character exploring an interesting world. There's potential to really interrogate the themes of the narrative, but Remy is little more than an avatar with whom to collect keys and hit things. So naturally, this game journo wants more social commentary in the game, and his politics-addled brain is disappointed that the game doesn't depict the plight of some non-white guy struggling to survive a harsh environment.
Let me tell you this, before I make this video, I was doing some research. You wanna know what I found out? The percentage of gamers, 53% are, of course, male gamers. And the rest, either women or non-binary, trans, whatever it is. 1%, I think I need to recheck back on this trans and non-binary. Game developers should cater to the majority, okay? Because the majority of people are, in fact, white male gamers, okay? 53%. They're the ones that are gonna have to buy it. You can't expect people who is, I don't know, an illegal immigrant to buy games such as Take Us North. You think illegal immigrants is gonna buy those shit? They don't give a damn. That is a cut. Or you say, Market, this is the problem when it comes to journalists, mostly in the West. I think the problem is that they should stop this whole biases. Because this biases, many game developers, what's the word I'm looking for? They wanted these awards. They got too anxious or too greedy. I wouldn't call it greedy. I don't know what it's called. But some developers, and I do mean developers in Asia, or in this case, AA and indie, they do the simplest thing. They keep on creating. They don't care what the journalist says or what anybody else says. They just keep creating.
Sounds to me like this writer, who is a white dude himself, mind you, it sounds like he's just disappointed that he can't indulge in his white savior fantasies. But here is where he talks about what seems to be just about the only really legitimate complaint that he has about the game, and admittedly, it's a big one. He doesn't like the combat very much, and after talking a bit about it, he writes, "The real issue is that there are only a handful of enemy types repeated throughout the entire game, bolstered by 3 levels of difficulty. Some are linked to colored haze enemies that must be defeated first, but these abstract apparitions have such bizarre animations it's hard to get a handle on parrying their attacks appropriately. Add in a dodge that pivots around enemies rather than to the sides, and it's all too easy to be embarrassingly surrounded and stuck in a corner. And to me, that sounds an awful lot like a skill issue."
I mean, seriously, what do we expect? Journalists? I had to make an assumption that that journalist didn't finish it. Because don't forget, these journalists, regardless what you want to say, 9 out of 10 times, they never finished the game. Remember Black Myth Wukong? They said there are no diversity characters because they didn't get past the first chapter.
Embarrassingly surrounded and stuck in a corner. And to me, that sounds an awful lot like a skill issue. Now, I am the first to admit that I suck at Souls-like games like Elden Ring, for instance, and I am not drawn to them, but if I were reviewing Elden Ring, for example, I also would not dock it for being difficult because, of course, that is the whole damn point, being difficult. That would be like going to a restaurant to review their chocolate cake and then giving the cake a lower score because you don't actually like chocolate. Anyways,
that's correct.
That is the gist of the article. The guy gushes over the game, except for the difficulty and the so-called boring white guy main character, and then he gives it a 3 out of 5 stars. Personally, I think the game sounds like it could be pretty damn fun, especially if I were better at that sort of combat. But I sure as hell will not knock the game just because I don't do well with this style. I suspect that through positive word of mouth, Hell Is Us will end up with numbers akin to the first Berserker Kazan.
The game also have a very positive reviews on Steam. For user review is unclear, but all reviews, it's very positive. I'm not going to be playing it yet. I'm going to have to finish Lost Soul Aside, or at least half of it, and then play this one.
Hit a little over 30,000 concurrent players on Steam when it came out this spring. It may not reach those numbers, Hell Is Us might not get to be that high on Steam, but the early access period for Hell Is Us just started yesterday, and they've got a few thousand players playing it already. And if you look at the reviews on Steam, the game is sitting at about 85% positive scores. I trust the word of gamers a hell of a lot more than game journos who aren't good at games and have a political agenda that they want to push all the time.
And again, like I said, just in case, I will be reviewing any games, the mainstream media or any reviewer that will not cover it. Because I know some YouTubers who won't review this because they have their own genre, okay? They have their own preferences, that's okay. But when it comes to journalists, any game that the journalist will not cover, well, based on what I'm seeing, I will cover it. Doesn't matter whether it's AA, indie, or games made in the East. I will cover them because we need to shine a light. Despite how many flops there is, there's always gonna be alternatives. And we need to shine a light on these AA, indie, and games made in the East. But mostly AA and indie. Gamers want escapism, or in this case, alternative to what they used to have.
你变成异能者了？
是的，这家伙让我变成了异能者，他叫阿瑞娜。
在那流星坠落之后，似乎发生了很多事。
你们两个对阿瑞娜大人尊重些。
我现在要去对岸的中央广场救路易莎。歌德呢？
怪物随着流星到来后，我们就开始分头到处救人。中央广场，那里的帝国……
那就分头行动吧。
好的，我先去找歌德会合，晚点港口见。
Leave a like and subscribe if you want woke or anti-war detected, or you just want to see me play games, or perhaps you like trending topics. Visit my second, third, and fourth channel up here or link in the description.